What's up, Paper Gang? My name is Yugioh. We are back with another deck profile video on the channel. Who are you and what are you here to do?
My name is Preston, and this is my Floowandereeze deck profile.
Ooh, playing some Flu?
Yes, sir.
How's this deck been performing for you at local so far?
Pretty good, pretty good. You can't win them all, but I got first, not last week, but the week before that. I've been topping a lot, but yeah, can't win them all.
Nice job. All right, so without further ado, just want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Imperial Gaming Collectibles. That's where we're at right now for our locals. Be sure to hit them up. The link is down in the description box down below. And without further ado, let's get right into the profile.
Okay, so we have 3 Rabina, totally standard, no reason you wouldn't run it. 3 Eglin, again, totally standard. 2 Stray, and 1 Toucan. So some people run Stray, 1 Toucan. Some people run 1 Stray, 2 Toucan. I've definitely played around with all those ratios. I think this is the best just because Stray is live more often than Toucan. You just need something to be in either player's graveyard for this. This is a lot more specific, so you can get this off a lot more. So you're basically less likely to brick, more likely to get your combo off having this at 2.
Okay.
So that's what I would recommend running. And then 2 Empin, which is pretty much, some people run 1 Empin, but most people run 2. It's pretty standard. I would recommend it. Then we've got the 1 Avion and the 1 Ryza. In Japan, everyone's running 2 Ryza and no Avion. I don't know why, so feel free to experiment with that, but I think having access to both is really nice. If you open the absolute nuts, you can get out Empin, Ryza, and Statue all in the first turn. So having access to all of that is really nice.
Yeah, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do, right?
Yeah, it's a nice toolbox to have. So yeah, then you have the 1 Statue. Some people have played around with 2. I think 1's fine. 1 DD Crow, you can definitely cut this. I just like having it as the searchable hand trap that it is. Sometimes in those grind games, you've already searched your statue and you already have all your birds in hand. You get the Rabina search, you might as well get the Crow at that point if you've already gotten everything else that you need.
Yeah, it's good for like DPEs and dashers and all kinds of stuff in the format you can hit with it.
Yep, yeah, and some decks just have like that 1 spell card that they need for their engine. Like, I don't know, if you're playing against Drytron, you can banish their Mitosis and then they can't really do anything.
Awesome.
And then the 1 other hand trap I play is the 3D Shifter.
That's the god card right there.
You absolutely need it in this deck. I was running Ash at one point and I just cut it. It's just not doing enough this format. But D-Shifter is just a blowout hand trap against most decks. Just totally sets them back a turn. It lets you win when you lose the die roll. Amazing card. And that's it for the monsters. So for the spells, we have the 3 maps with the 1 terraforming, just for a 4th copy of map. Pretty much always want to open this. You never don't want to have this on your first turn. So yeah, there's just no reason not to max out on it. 3 Advent, the most recent card that came out for this deck. Amazing card, adds consistency, can deal with certain hand traps like Veiler or Imperm. This can get around. Just so many amazing plays you can make with this card, and the fact that you can add the field spell off it too just means that you're like almost always going to have your field spell turn 1. So absolutely, definitely max out on this card. And then the 1 wins, really good card. I don't think you'd ever want to run more than 1 of it, but when you open this card, it's just so amazing.
Yeah, it just helps you deal with boards and it's searchable, yeah. So you only run 1 of it.
Yeah, opening this card just lets you win games that you have no right to win. But so yeah, then we got the 6 pots, the 3 prosperity, and the 3 duality. Pretty standard, just adds so much consistency to the deck. This is pretty much the only deck that can run duality and have like no consequences. So
right, and for the prosperities, you're not all the time trying to kill right away. You're just trying to stun your opponent, so the half damage doesn't really come up that much, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're hoping to go first, obviously, in which case it doesn't matter at all. But even when you are going second, this isn't like an OTK deck anyways. You're just gonna get out Empin and like maybe 1 other thing that can attack at most. So yeah, you're not swinging for big damage with this deck. Then we have the Kalba, just to obviously help your plays go through. Gold Sark, and the 3 books. These all kind of help with hand traps. Yeah, the called by is pretty self-explanatory. Gold Sark, if you don't know, is mostly just there to help you chain block. If you do brick really hard, like let's say the only Flunder you have is Stree, and let's say you have Stree and Gold Sark, that can pretty much get you full combo because you just banish the Rabina with Gold Sark, and then with that you can go off from there. So yeah, this is basically like your Foolish Burial for the deck, since you use the Banish Zone instead of the Graveyard. So Gold Sark is a nice card to have. And then for 3 books, I've played around with this. I've debated like if it's even worth it. Like at first it seems really good that you can stop certain hand traps, but it basically only stops Veiler and Imperm.
And if it doesn't serve that function, you could always just set it, and like if they're under the barrier statue, you just book their normal summon, and then they kind of just have to pass.
A lot of times this ends up being your out to Omni Negates, like a Baron, or just like you said, when they normal summon to get over your statue, you just book it down. So yeah, there's just a lot of applications of this card. It's not only for the anti-hand trap, so I think it's definitely worth playing at 3. And then you have the 1 Unexplored Winds, or the Dreaming Town, sorry. The 1 Dreaming Town, you can always play this. I did play 2 Dreaming Town at one point, and I've seen some people explore with it, but I don't think you really need it. You can always recycle it with this deck by banishing with Stree and then adding back with Toucan, and it also can banish itself. So yeah, I don't think it worth running any more than 1 of it is worth it. And then last, I just have 2 Imperms here.
So talk a little bit about why you chose to have Imperm as your hand trap.
So the only hand trap that like really stops people that you can play is D-Shifter. So I'm not having the Imperm to like stop people exactly. It's more just to deal with Barons and stuff like that. It can stop people, like if I'm playing against Alistair, like I'll Imperm their Alistair normal summon or whatever.
Yeah.
But mostly it's just there to deal. It's just a super versatile card. This is like never not gonna be useful.
Right, you could always like play into a board, or you know, God forbid you're going second and you don't want to. You open that card, you could stop their normal summon or something like that. Hopefully you get lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, and under Shifter too, you know, Shifter Imperm, really solid hand trap lineup for this deck.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and show off your side deck for us?
Yeah, sure. 2 Ash. It's not super relevant in any particular matchup. I just have this here for when certain of your Floowandereeze cards just don't work. So it's just good to have something solid that you can side into when you have to side out of certain cards.
Yeah, it's good to stop like branded fusion too.
Yeah,
it's pretty big in this
definitely has its uses, you know, hitting the Vert and whatnot. Then I have the 3 Token Collector just for the specific matchups, mostly based. You do have to be careful with this card. When you're playing Floowandereeze, you can basically only use this card turn 1.
Right. You have to open it in your hand, basically, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I would only ever side this card in going second, because you just basically can't play it from turn 2 onwards.
He got a fat booty, too.
Yeah. I have the 1 of Regeki and the 1 of Harpies.
Oh, okay. Talk a little bit about why you chose these.
They're both good for certain things. Obviously, any back row heavy deck like Eldritch, this is like just a god card against them. Just any back row heavy deck. So like, I would definitely recommend having it. And then Regeki, like obviously Lightning Storm's really good, but there are a few uses for this card. Like when they put out Zeus in defense mode, you know, you can just use this to deal with it. It baits out Omni Negates just like Lightning Storm would, and then also in the mirror match, this card's actually really good. Really good in the Flunder mirror match. So yeah, and Flunder doesn't have like amazing board break. You don't really have any spot removal in this deck, so yeah, having access to these cards in your side deck I think is nice.
Right. So for the board breaking, it's pretty much M-Pen or bust in the main deck, or Ryza.
Yeah, you have Ryza for like spot removal, but that's pretty much it.
Right.
And then the 3 Cosmics.
Really big right now, especially at our locals with all the Eldritch running around and things like that.
Yep, all those spell effects that activate in the graveyard. 3 Dark Ruler.
God card.
Yeah, pretty much. If you're obviously you always want to go first with this deck, but when you do go second, this card's really nice in a lot of matchups. And then this card is amazing, Featherstorm.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of people main deck it. I prefer side decking it. If you go first in game 1, you should probably win. Just like more often than not. Game 2, they're probably gonna win, and then game 3, you side these in as like your trump card. And that's the game where you need these. Is game 3.
I just noticed. I think you have a 16 card side deck.
Oh, do I?
3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Probably just take out a token collector, or possibly take out both of the ashes. Like I said, I just changed up the ratios today. I actually had these in main deck, but I took out 2 Dark Rulers for 2 Imperms just because in a lot of matchups this is just not that good.
Right.
So I'd rather have it in the side deck. But yeah.
All right. Why don't we move on to the extra deck? Although it's not very relevant.
Yeah, the extra deck is not really relevant. I just have a bunch of filler cards. If you're looking to play the most optimal stuff, you probably want like Natis and other things like that in your extra deck, just for when
like when you get the free present.
Yeah, when you're playing against Dogmatica, just to have stuff like that. But you can play anything in your extra deck with this deck. It can be nice. A lot of people run the Zeus package. You can have like the Lyralist rank 1, and then go into Downward Magician and then Zeus, and that gives you like 4 materials, but
never really comes up for you though, right?
It doesn't really, because once you use a Floowandereeze effect, you can't special summon.
Right.
So you have to be in a very specific situation where like you have 2 level 1s on the field from last turn that they didn't destroy for some reason, and then they negate your Floowandereeze effect. It's like super niche, but I mean, yeah, a lot of people play it just to have access to it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for showing off the deck profile. Really do appreciate it. Before we wrap it up, any shout outs you want to give?
None in particular.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, of course, man. You're always welcome on the channel. My name is PaperYGO. As always, stay getting that paper, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Every time